Hey guys, sorry it's been so long and I haven't given you an update. Don't worry, I have been working on the bike, but it is one of those things, it's hard to put the tools down and grab the camera. Also, with the fact that it's now riding season, I've been pretty anxious to get out and about. So I have, I've just been thrashing on it, and we're at a point now where it runs, so I'm about due to put it back on the dyno and see what happens. It's just a couple of little things to tidy up, put the engine case back together and stuff, but so I'll give you a bit of a walk around and explain some of the stuff that I've done. So I guess we should start off first with the throttle bodies. These are the F800 throttle bodies that I talked about. I've split them up so that they're separate pairs. They're kind of nice unit. Everything's all part of the one package. You've got the TPS fuel pressure sensor, which is unplugged at the moment, but it's there. Injectors, and then so I've used AN fuel lines. I cut the fuel rail in half. It's plastic. Put a 3/8 MPT tap in there, and then just threaded in a AN6 to 3/8 MPT. That goes up to the fuel pump, or across under the fuel pump. I'm running a deadhead system, obviously, like the factory bike. Up inside the airbox, we're going to have the idle air control valve, which I am actually using a boost control valve. I sort of guessed that maybe it would work, and it does. It gives me about 150-200 RPM when it's open, so these things don't charge that well, so like usually you keep the idle a little bit high anyway, somewhere around the 1,400-1,500 RPM mark. And then when it's cold, that keeps me up around there and keeps it alive, so that's kind of nice. I also have a map sensor, but I am using that for barometric correction, and there is a fast acting intake air temperature sensor in there. Around the front, the actual important part, because nothing would work without this. In here we've got a 24-2 trigger wheel for the crank, sorry. That's got a Cherry Hall effect sensor on there, a gear position sensor. And then on the cam we've got a 180-degree wheel, which is kind of smart way to do it. So the Hall sensor is either high or low depending upon which cylinder it's on, so that enables us to do the sequential fuel injection, which should hopefully mean that the throttle response is a bit better. Of course, we've still got the wideband in the exhaust from when it had the carburetors, and under here in the sump we have the coolant temperature sensor, which, because it's air cooled, is in the oil. So that's working great. Around here, more of the same really, but I've got a bit carried away with the wiring loom, and I've tried to utilize all the ins and outs. So under here we've got a whole bunch of plugs which will be connected to various things up on the dash or the gauge cluster, and I guess the really important part, the ECU. So in here I'm utilizing micro squirt. It's a version 2 or version 3, version 2 micro squirt on a version 3 board, and there's also a M unit blue hidden in there. I sort of figured that it would be nice. I'm going to rewire the entire bike after I've got a tune in it, and it's just a nice way to do it. So that's what we're shooting for. There's a few wires in there that's just bodged together to make the M unit work for the fuel injection at the moment. I've relocated the starter button down onto the side of the box just for convenience, and other than that, the only thing I will say about the M unit is it's not really designed for fuel injection, so it's kind of hard to get the ECU to trigger various like inputs and outputs. I don't know, maybe I could steal one of the other ones, but using the auxiliary inputs and outputs, it's kind of a bit of a mess. Also, I haven't mentioned it, but up under the tank is a coil off a Toyota Starlet. It's a wasted spark coil, logic level, of course, because I'm running a micro squirt and it can't drive dumb coils. Yeah, and then just plug boots off one of those, and yeah, so that's where we're at. The rest of it is all sort of together. It runs, starts up, no problems. I am having a little bit of trouble setting the base timing, and I think it's because I got a hinky timing light, but yeah, well, what can you do? I'm going to try and borrow one so that I'm absolutely certain, because as it is right now, I can get it running really good, and then the timing is just way off, and then or I can have the timing spot on and it runs like a bag of dicks. So I don't know what to do there, but basically I need to not guess, and that's what's happening with this timing light, because I'm not actually sure what's going on. I tried to follow the instructions on how to use the advanced setting and stuff, or even disable it, but it doesn't work. So I'm going to have a bit of a scratch around and see what I can find in the next couple of days, and then yeah, hopefully we'll be on the dyno this week. That would be nice, and it's going to be a long road, I think, but there might be 1 or 2 power runs at the end that are worth filming, but then maybe we can start riding it again. But yeah, there's plenty to do just yet. So yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.